I'm glad to say we're making progress on the Monte Carlo finally. Here's a fuel lab regulator. You might notice that some of these parts I already had from before on the greeny clips that I had, but I put some of that stuff on the ready clips that I have now. So we got a new fuel regulator, Spark Tech coil on plug system that just mounts plug and play, timing belt tool, which I really don't need, but I didn't have this. I have the plastic one that holds the cam gears. This is a 2G to a Evo 8 MAF because I'm running an Evo 8 MAF until I get set up for speed density. Rocker arms and lifters, ARP cam bolts, tri-metal bearings. Here's the part number. Spark plugs. Then we got some fuel injector clinic. Come on, focus. 1100 cc's. Then we got the Kigley HLA to regulate the oil going to the lifters and such. Exhaust stud kit. We got the Magnus fuel rail. Supposedly this is big enough to supply 1,000 horse worth of fuel. I mean, I don't need that, but it was a super good deal for Black Friday. This was cheaper than the smaller fuel rails of different brands. There's the spacers and hardware. Then we got two Cometics. So I'm trying not to machine a bunch off my engine and still get good piston to valve clearance. I'm trying to target 120 to 125 thousandths piston to valve clearance. So one of these is the, what is it, the 6 millimeter and 3 millimeter. So those are the two different ones. Whatever one I don't use, I'll be selling, and obviously it'll be brand new. I got a connector kit because in one of the videos that's coming up, I'm going to be doing my whole harness from scratch. I'm going to be using twisted shielded pairs, and I'm going to be having where every single wire will have a drain wire, which will terminate the shielding at each connector. So there'll be a shield. The shield from the wires will come off and go to a little eye that will have a bolt go through it to different places on the engine. So we have that. So I'm gonna do that all from scratch. That'll probably be 2 or 3 videos at least. We got a lightweight flywheel. I have to machine out the middle here in order to fit the rear wheel drive transmission through it, because the spline, the whole thing, the pilot bearing's not here. The pilot bearing is on the crank using this W58 Super engine, or transmission, sorry. So this, I think, has to get drilled out to 32 millimeters, if I remember correctly. Then we got the Max Extreme pressure plate. I just filled out the paperwork to get a custom disc made, a 6-puck sprung. So it's gonna have the Mitsubishi disc material and the correct dimensions and everything, and it's gonna have the Toyota Supra W58 splines in the middle, but it's gonna have the Mitsubishi offset, so it should work good. We also have a full engine seal kit. So this comes with a head gasket too. That head gasket's gonna get used for all the mock-ups and the what do you call it? Help me, people. Oh, using the torque plate for honing. when I mount the torque plate, it's going to use this crappy head gasket. I have the Total Seal piston rings. They're the AP steel rings for the second groove in the bottom, but the top are running the gapless. So if you don't know what their gapless rings are all about, both of these rings, the black one and the gray one, will both go inside the same ring groove on the piston, and the gaps will be larger than normal, and they will be 180 degrees offset from each other. So the black one will be on one side of the piston, the gray gap will be on the other side of the piston. Then the second ring is just a normal AP carbon steel. And then we have the bottom groove oil rings. And since I got a stroker kit, which will be in the next video because that's at the machine shop, the bottom, well, the oil ring here, it has a support ring that goes underneath because the wrist pin goes through the galley area or the ring groove for this set of rings. So that will hold it up, and but I'll show all that off just like I did on Project No Rice. I'll show all that off. I have 50 foot of red, 50 foot of black 4-gauge wire. Obviously not all of it is going to be on the Monte Carlo, but alternator and all the engine grounds and everything like that is going to be with this 4-gauge wire. Ooh, look at this. I know it's a little overkill. Hold on, let me shut the door. Look at that. Powder coated gas tank. Woo. Anyways, it's a little dusty, but we got our double pumper Deutschwerk 300s. So let's call this a Deutschwerk 600. And then we got our top that we're gonna point. This is the back of the car, so we're gonna point those to the front. So this is the farthest forward I can rotate it because of the sump pan and where the fuel level sender is and all that. So it's gonna be pointed to the passenger rail. So I'm probably gonna get some 90s and go 90 this, or what is that, 120 degree, where it's sort of like this. And it's all gonna be braided stainless steel flex line. So I'm gonna have it go like this, and then I'm gonna have one where it's just long enough to come out to here or so, somewhere like this. Then I'm putting a 180 straight coupler. That way I can mount the tank and have the connections out here, and then from there flex line to the frame, and then from the frame all the way up to the front of the motor. Here are the new metal straps to strap it to the underside of the car. And here are the rubber, what do they want to call it? Rubber isolators. So you mount it, it doesn't vibrate against anything. Alright, so we got the gas tank out. Cut the rubber lines because all those steel lines are going in the garbage. And there is the tank. Man, look how old this is. This factory, dusty nastiness. That pickup's probably good if anyone wants it. Nah, don't even waste your time. I'm gonna throw it out tomorrow. You probably wouldn't want all that varnish and shit in it anyways. Yep, this is no good. Check that out. It's all rusty, and the pickup filter thing's all disgusting black. Ugh. Now I got the lock ring on. It's not gonna move. Now I'm gonna order the AN fittings and let's get this thing put in to the car. Here are the fuel filters for the Monte Carlo. We got AN fittings on the ends. Here is the part number. It's a Bosch filter. I'm using 2 of these in parallel so that I don't get any pressure drop across. So they're going to be in the car like this. Or obviously they're both going to be facing the same way like that. And then it's going to Y off or tee off in both sides over here and over here. So I shouldn't get any pressure drop at all. Then I have 2 more filters for when those are old. I just bought some right away. These are pretty cheap online. And then you just reuse your AN fittings. So for the AN fittings, you're going to need, they come with these, the filters come with these 2. So you're going to use 1 small and 1 bigger diameter. So you can, you can't really see it in this lighting. But one of them, the hole is bigger than the other. That's because one of these holes is bigger. So this one's smaller, that one's bigger. So we're going to take some right stuff, put it on the threads, put the washer, and then tighten it down with a 19mm. Now these 2 filters are all cleaned up, ready to be installed. Here is most of the fuel system. I'm still waiting on some stuff in the mail, which will magically appear in this video. So, braided 6N line. These 2 filters with straights on them. So what's going to happen is, they probably won't keep these straights. What'll probably happen is, there'll be hard lines that tee these together into a single feed like this. I'm gonna have to go find some stuff. Then we got 90s to go to the gas tank, fuel rails. These are just for interconnecting two different ones. So say like that one and that one, whatever. I haven't figured out exactly how it's gonna go, so I bought extras. So now we're gonna go ahead. I'm gonna cut probably 1.5 feet long so that it comes to the end of the fuel tank, because I want to be able to disconnect the fuel tank without having to like bring it down slowly and then unscrew the 90s. It's gonna go 90 to a straight that's about 1.5 feet long, and these, all you have to do is jack up the car, go under, disconnect them. Then you can just drop the tank and get it out of your way, or do whatever you have to do. Here is the lines that go from the fuel tank. I got 90s to go from the fuel tank, and then the straights that go to the frame. That way I can just lower the gas tank when I undo the straights and just not have to mess with any other of the fuel system. Then we have the long ones here. Now these I have 2 straight and then a straight and a 90. The reason I have that is that the straight is going to go into the bottom of the fuel regulator on the underhood side, and then the 90 is going to go directly to the fuel rail, and then the other 2 straights connect to these 2. Obviously there's going to be, from the out, there's going to be this in the middle, and then I have this short one to go from the fuel rail to the fuel regulator. So I'm going to be installing all this stuff in the next video, as well as showing off some of the other stuff I got.